I had been working at that company for the past 2 years. Work was my life. I was always the first to arrive in the morning, and most days, the last to leave. There was never any shortage in my work. Files on time, before deadlines, without a single complaint. In the beginning, everything was fine. My boss, Mr. Richard Hale, seemed very professional. Everything was strictly about work. But over time, things started to change. The first sign was that after meetings, he would stop me. He would say, "Emily, you're different. You're not like the other girls here." I would smile, because at that time, I took it as a compliment. Then the messages started coming. After work, late at night. At first, they were only about work. Then the sentences began to change. The second sign was the day he said, "If you become a little flexible, you can go very far." I stayed silent. My heart understood everything, but my mind refused to accept it. I convinced myself, maybe I'm thinking wrong. Maybe it's just in my head. Then the pressure started. After my refusal, suddenly my work became a problem. The same file that was perfect yesterday was flawed today. The same performance that was exemplary became disappointing. I was confused. I was working, but I was being looked at through a different lens. One day, he called me into his office. The door was closed. He leaned back in his chair and said, "Emily, this company rewards loyalty in many ways." My hands started shaking. I lowered my eyes and said just one thing. "Sir, I'm here to work and nothing else." He smiled, and in that smile, I saw my job slipping away. Some stories begin with a job and end with dignity. The next few days were strange. There was no flaw in my work, but attitudes had changed. My words were cut off in meetings, emails went unanswered, and suddenly I was removed from important projects. One day, gathering courage, I asked, "Sir, did I make a mistake?" He leaned back in his chair, smiled, and said, "Emily, you've changed. You're not as cooperative as you used to be." That word, cooperative, pierced my heart like an arrow. The day of humiliation was Friday evening. The office was emptying when HR called. "Emily, please come to the conference room." Inside were HR and Mr. Richard Hale. HR said formally, "The company has decided to terminate your employment. Reason, performance issues." My ears started ringing. I immediately said, "Performance? Check my record. I have never—" Richard cut me off. "Emily, don't make this difficult." At that moment, I understood. This decision wasn't sudden. In my final sentence, I asked just one question. Just one. "Sir, is all this because you didn't meet my personal expectations?" Silence filled the room. HR lowered her eyes. Richard didn't even look at me. He simply said, "You are displaying unprofessional behavior." The same answer and the same punishment. I picked up my bag and walked out of the office. No one said goodbye at the reception. My reflection in the elevator glass felt unfamiliar. When I reached home, I closed the door and sat on the floor. No tears came out. Maybe even my tears were tired. There was only one question in my heart. Was asking for respect really such a big crime? Some people lose jobs, and some are punished for saying no. I couldn't sleep that night. The room was silent, but my mind was full of noise. That same phrase kept echoing, performance issues. I laughed. How easily a lie can break a whole person. Facing reality, I called my mother the next morning. I tried to keep my voice strong, but mothers understand everything. "Emily, you're crying, aren't you?" I said, "No, Mom, I'm just tired." Silence followed. Then she softly asked, "Daughter, you lost your job, didn't you?" With that one sentence, whatever strength I had left shattered. I told her the truth. She only said, "Daughter, this is not your fault, but the world often charges the highest price for the right people." Facing reality, the next day I calculated everything: rent, bills, and only 2 months left. I sent out my CV again. Some interviews happened, but the moment my previous company name came up, faces changed. I understood. Some stories don't die in files, they're killed in phone calls. One evening, I stood in front of the mirror. The same girl, the same face, but now there was a question in my eyes. Will I always carry the burden of someone else's intentions? I said to myself, no. A silent decision. I didn't decide to take revenge. I didn't decide to scream. I decided to build myself. I started learning how businesses are built, how companies run, and most importantly, how power is quietly accumulated. I started small, freelance jobs, worked nights, built strength during the day. People thought I had disappeared, but in reality, I was preparing. Some people leave making noise, and some rebuild themselves in silence. In the beginning, I didn't have a big dream. I didn't want to change the world. I didn't want to answer anyone. I just wanted to pay my rent and live with dignity. My first step was a simple job on my laptop: data management, project planning, the same work I had been doing for others for years. The only difference was now I was doing it for myself. My first client was a small startup, low pay, high workload, but I didn't complain. The line between day and night began to blur. Work in the morning, learning in the afternoon, work again at night. I often forgot to eat, often sacrificed sleep, but I didn't let myself give up. After every project, I told myself, Emily, the next one has to be better than the last. Slowly, my name began to spread. Months passed, clients changed, reviews started coming. Someone said, "You're reliable." Someone said, "You never miss deadlines." Those words were worth more to me than any salary. The first big risk. One day, I realized, if I keep doing everything alone, this will remain just a job. It won't become a company. I invested all my savings into a small office, a 2-room office in Brooklyn. No signboard, no logo, no big claims, just one desk, 2 chairs, and belief. Building a team. The first hire, a girl who had been told everywhere that she didn't fit. I said only one thing: here, you don't have to prove anything except your work. She cried silently. The company began to run. First small clients, then medium. Mistakes happened, losses happened, but we never compromised on dignity. Slowly, the company's name started spreading. People began to recognize us. Some companies aren't built with noise. They're built with nights, silence, and honest hard work. Building a company is one thing. Running it is another. In the beginning, everything ran on emotions, but soon I understood. If a company runs on emotions, one day those same emotions can drown it. Building systems. I started writing everything down: who does what, when, and what happens if someone doesn't. Simple systems, small but clear. Hard decisions. Not every hardworking person is necessary for the team. There was a guy, good at work but never punctual. At first, I ignored it. Then losses happened. That day, I learned that softness in a company is for people, not for systems. I had to let him go. I couldn't sleep that night, but the next week, the company ran better. Financial pressure. Work was increasing, but money didn't always come on time. Clients promised, then delayed. Rent, salaries, taxes. Many days, I didn't take my own salary and paid my team instead. No one knew. I made one rule: we will not take work we can't deliver properly and on time. Many big clients were lost because of that rule, but the ones who came back. Slowly, people began recognizing us as a name. The team grew. New people, new ideas, new problems. I made one thing clear: this company will not run on anyone's silence. It will run only on work and respect. Some people left, some stayed. Those who stayed became part of the company. The first big test. We got a major client. Success meant moving to the next level. Failure meant everything could end. I gathered the team and said, "This isn't just a project, this is our test." We worked day and night. Mistakes happened, but we didn't hide them. The project was completed on time, and that day, the company truly became strong. A company doesn't become strong the day it starts earning, but the day it learns to endure pressure. Years passed. My company slowly grew from a small office into a recognized name. Earlier, only small clients returned happily. Now, the name itself was growing. People said, "Emily's company always delivers." Small projects became medium. Then the time for big ones came. One day, a local news channel requested an interview. I said, "This company succeeded because of hard work and right decisions. We give every client our best." The interview went viral. Now people didn't see me just as an employee, but as a CEO, entrepreneur, and role model. Staff expansion. We expanded the team. We gave opportunities to those who were once called unfit. Everyone knew. Here, respect and trust come with work. The company felt like a family. Industry buzz. New investors came in. Big clients sent proposals. My inbox filled with emails. One day, standing on the rooftop, looking at my company, I said to myself, "This is the result of my patience, hard work, and honesty." But somewhere deep inside, a quiet question remained. Is it time for those who misunderstood me to see where I've reached? The company was becoming famous, and quietly, carefully planned winds of return began to blow. My company was no longer small. Clients were coming. Reputation was growing. But I hadn't forgotten my real purpose. I knew Richard Hale's company still ran on the same old mindset, and his arrogance was still alive. I decided, it's time everyone sees where I stand, without noise, with calculated intelligence. My first strategic move. I started taking small but well-planned steps. 1. Industry connections. We began increasing contact with Richard's major clients through informal meetings. Slowly, they started noticing our company. 2. Silent branding. My company launched new projects. Small successes spread quietly. People in Richard's company started whispering, "Emily is doing something big." 3. Talent attraction. People who were considered inferior at Richard's company slowly started coming to us. I always said one thing: here, respect comes with work. The first contact. One day, Richard's secretary called me. "Mr. Hale wants to meet you. He's interested in your methods." I calmly replied, "Of course, but the meeting should be professional." Richard's arrogance was obvious. He thought, the same girl I underestimated. But he didn't realize Emily hadn't come to shout or scream revenge, just silent, calculated moves. Cliffhanger. Richard's company began feeling our presence. Small clients started leaving. Employees began asking questions. My team played a psychological move on one of Richard's major projects. Richard didn't feel it immediately, but tension for the future had already been created. Winds of revenge had started blowing, but I hadn't revealed my real cards yet. This was only the first wave. The storm was still coming. In the past few months, I had quietly done a lot. Strengthened industry connections, hired the best talent, pulled Richard's clients toward us. Now it was time for it all to come into the open. The big target. My team targeted one of Richard's biggest clients. This project was the strongest pillar of his portfolio. Strategic exposure. My best team carefully convinced the client, our company doesn't just meet deadlines, we deliver with complete transparency and honesty. The client was impressed. They chose my company over Richard's. Richard sat in his office stunned. She's not just surviving, she's moving ahead. Now, many talented people in Richard's company began openly thinking, why are we here? Some quietly resigned and joined our team. We didn't attract people with threats or deception, only opportunity plus respect. Psychological superiority. I scheduled a personal meeting with Richard, a simple professional meeting. Richard thought, she's still the same weak girl. But calmly, I said, I don't need to prove anything. My work speaks for itself. At that moment, Richard realized for the first time that the person he always underestimated, fired because his desires weren't fulfilled, was now standing in a completely different place. A few moments later, I walked out of the office and stood on the rooftop looking at New York's skyline. There was peace in my heart, emotion in my eyes. I lost my job, my dignity was broken, but today I have achieved all this with my intelligence, hard work, and patience. No shouting, no anger, no noise, just a silent victory. And from my heart, only one line came out. Some people gain power through noise, and some change the world through silence. And this is my story.